Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm not sure I can add many more things than all the good things you said, Christine, in the beginning of this morning here. But maybe I can give you a little perspective of how we see things in these days from industry perspective, and also why we so much need this institute on daily basis. Today I will start talking about resource efficient production, which is well, you can say that's a quite boring thing, but it's actually very important, and I'll come back to why this is so important in these days. And then the road to sustainable food production, and I'll give you the conclusion now. The conclusion is taste is king. Plant-based food is one of the main things we have to do, and biosolution, biotech is one of the key enablers, and the successful industry will be the ingredients industry. So if you're looking at the phone when I speak the next 10 minutes, you have the conclusion now, and I will come back to those. Then we have to look into how do we solve the climate and have a strategy for that. And every morning I wake up in these days, I think many of you have the same. What have we now done over the night? And we have a lot of crises, and many of those are connected to the war in Europe. Before that we actually had a food crisis with less food. So it's not only Putin we can blame everything on. We have a lot of pressure on the resources on the planet. We have an energy crisis. But all those on short-term crises we have to overcome. We still must not miss the focus on the green transition. We must remember to commit to the green transition, even we have those crises. Now I will show you the most scaring figure today, and this is the curve for the energy prices. This is a game changer, as Christine, I think Annalisa mentioned that in the spring we have a lot of challenge in the food sector with replacing seed oil in the products, a lot of reformulation. A lot of you scientists have done a very good job in that way. But today we have to change a lot of things in the food production. This is an index 100, is what the energy cost was on gas and electricity in 2020. And you can see it had not doubled. It's had more than 20 times double up. And 1/3 of all natural gas used in the industry in Denmark is actually used in food processing industry. So it's very energy intensive production we have. So we need some solution where we can reduce a lot of that energy. And in these days, we use a lot of transformation. We're working with some of your colleagues out here on the technical issue with what is called Brian Elmegård, which work with excellent cooperation with that institute on DTU. But as they say in the fiction, the winter is coming, but we are prepared for this winter. We have a lot of gas on the storage in Europe, but it's actually the winter is coming. It's like in the fantasy. It's not for a short period. It's actually for a lot of years, because the next winter we do not have the opportunity to fill up the gas storage. So we have to find solution in less than 1 year on that problem. So we need many of you scientists, even in the production side. Maybe we can do some more fermentation and reduce the temperature and everything. So that's, I know this is not in this institute, but I have to say this is what's on the mind, on the board, around all companies in the sector in these days. But what also are on the board is the long-term perspective, and that's the feeding the population. That's one of the main purpose. We have to feed a population who can pay less, but will still have to be safe. Food safety, as was mentioned many times this morning, is very important, but it's also important because it's the license to export, it's branding our nation. We have climate, we have many things who can brand the Danish excellent production, all the food stuff we exporting around the world, but food safety is actually still, even that we have fought over the last 5 decades, this thing must go down on the list of the most important things for exporting. But food safety is still a problem, and I think that will be for many decades because we have a lot of pressure on the resources around the planet. And then, of course, the resource-efficient production, which require a lot of solution in these days. And how can we produce more resource efficient? Yeah, let's take an example. If we develop the fermentation in the brewery, we can brew in a fewer weeks and get the same quality or even a better quality beer, and then we reduce a lot of energy. We can electrify a variety of product processes. We can utilize side streams, which is what they actually is the basic thing of the ingredients industry, and that's the core business model. And I think that is one of the most important exporting product in the future. It's our knowledge or processes for how can we secure that we don't have side stream, which is not scaled up to good value food for people, or sometimes pet food. Sometimes in some markets, pet food are actually more valued than the food, but that's another thing. The road to sustainable production, and here we come back to the conclusion, is about taste, it's about plant-based food, it's about biosolution and ingredients. If you look into the taste, what's scaring most food companies is when they are developing a new product is that the consumer didn't find the taste suitable. Maybe it's a very good product, it's have a good nutrition, it's everything's fine, but we don't like the taste. And then it's out of the market. And I could say more than 90% of all products introduced to the market, they are failing on taste. So here, I'm looking out of all the young people here, that's the main problem to solve to make the green transition around the world, that we can then we can fit the taste, because the consumer, they are really hard to convince on that. The other thing is to get all those plant-based products to replace some of the protein from animal sector. We have to do that. We also have to change the animal sector, but we have a lot of research to do for making a more sustainable plant-based food around the world, and there's a lot of research to do yet. And here the biosolution is one of the key enablers. With where we can use the fermentation and precision fermentation is one of the main key enablers in developing a better plant-based food, where we can get the taste of umami, which is some of the things we actually missed when we changed our diet to plant-based food. Yeah, and the biotech have so many great potential. I think we will see, if we look 2 or 3 decades into the future, we will see a lot of processing where we don't think biotech solutions is the key enabler, but it will be in the future. Look at the material. We don't have raw material. We don't have steel enough to build all the green transition. We actually need to develop new material. out of the nature. And I think biotech will also make a role in that place. But in food sector, we can change some of the way we produce things, how we storage things, how we secure a longer lifetime. All that can be done with biotech, and that will be one of the main successful tech enablers in the future. So if your students are working on that area, I will promise a very good career for you in the future. I do hope. But where do we use all those technology? The ingredient sector, where is very, very big in Denmark compared to a lot of other countries, and they have a lot of recipes for the healthy food, for innovation and sustainable products. They can improve taste and texture. They can extend the shelf life, meet special nutrition needs, reduce food waste by exploring it. And I think the food waste issue have been so undervalued. We have done a lot of talk about what is the food waste, but in these days where the prices are going up, and I can tell you, you haven't seen nothing yet, because those energy prices, you haven't seen those in the supermarket yet. So there will be a lot of need for being more efficient in the way we also consume food at home. And here the ingredient sector can do a lot of effort to that. And we also have to make food affordable for more people. And we always think that's some Africa issue, but if you look around Europe in these days, we actually, not especially in Denmark, but you go to Eastern Europe, we actually have people who doesn't get that nutrition they should have on normally basic in these days. So this is what I haven't seen that since the Second World War in Europe, but we actually seeing that in these days. So here, some of the skills they have in the ingredient sector, they can really make a market opportunity in the future. Where to use the research fund? There are so many places where you can use the research fund, and together with the farmers organization, we have made this paper. I have brought a through one that's back in, but it's in Danish, but on our web page we can find it in English. And here we have described some of the enablers for the research for the future, as we see it in the industry. How can we make the green transition? And there's a lot of places where we have to develop the research. I have mentioned the fermentation, all the biotechnology, but also data and technology. We haven't make data available for and useful for the industry. We have a lot of data we can exchange between each other in the value chain, but we don't do it. We need trust to do it. We need technology. We need things to compare all the research on the biological area and all the data. And I think in that way we can reduce a lot of cost, and we can get a more quality, and we can get better products to the market, and we can make less product fail on the market, because it's so badly when some of you have done a lot of research work and a lot of made a new product, and then the consumer just throw it away in 6 weeks, and that's actually the time it's get in the supermarket. They only have a patient for about 6 weeks for discovering, accept a new product. Maybe that will change over the time, but this is the reality for the industry. So you have been working on that product for 5 years, and then you get 6 weeks in the store to see if it fits into the consumer. So we need those data in the developing, so we can be more precise about to actually hit the point when we develop new products. And in the end, I will just put your attention on our web page. Here's where you can find it. Here you can see a lot of companies work here in Denmark with the ingredients sector, and you can see a lot of cases on how they do and how they work with the sustainability and what they are working in. And maybe some of you need a job one day, or need some to work with, or be collaborating with. I know a lot of those companies, they really want to make good cooperation with you, and that's why I think the industry and the research is a perfect match. Thank you.